Dusko Pilik asks, what do you guys think of the DJI Mavic Pro that was just recently announced, and will you be buying one? So this is a really cool looking drone. It's definitely caught the industry's eye. GoPro announced the GoPro Karma just the week before this, and DJI basically blew them out of the water. Like, if you look at the both of them side to side, there's no reason to choose the GoPro. To me, it looks like the DJI Mavic Pro Mavic Pro is the clear winner here. What'd you think?
Just for the size of it, that is so appealing, because, like, you know, I like to do my kind of on location, adventure videos for my YouTube channel. And I love, like, going out and setting up my GoPro and getting some walking shots. And then I've been taking my drone out to some of those. The problem is it is not mobile at all. It's huge. It's this huge, cumbersome thing. And you got to put it in an even bigger case. And you can either, like, take your camera backpack, or you can take your drone backpack. But the Maverick is so small. It's nice. Or the Mavic. Is it Maverick or Mavic?
It's Mavic. It's hard not to say Maverick though when you're saying it.
And what's cool about the Mavic is it is small. You could put that in your camera bag along with all of your camera stuff. So for just the portability of it, like if you're a backpack, you're a hiking backpacker that likes to go and do multi-day trips, there's no way you're going to take. Yeah, there's no way you're going to take a big drone like that. But these small drones, that is so much more doable for the average user. Now, I say the average user because if you're making, like, films and professional video, it's probably not going to be good enough. The sensor is smaller in this. It's got all the same specs as the Phantom 4, 4K, all the frame rates and stuff. But the sensor is smaller, which means just not as much video quality. The video quality definitely takes a hit, but it's so much smaller and easier to throw in a bag. You can literally, like, throw the thing in your pocket. That is crazy. The size of it is about the same size as just the controller for the Phantom 4. And you know, for my needs, I wish I wouldn't have bought a Phantom 4 because this kind of fits better. But at the same time, I can justify sticking with the Phantom 4 because the video quality out of the 4 is going to be a lot better than the Mavic. What do you think, Jim?
Yeah, I had similar thoughts. Comparing this to the Phantom, I thought, if I were buying today, I'd probably get the Mavic Pro. But the price did not end up being quite it's not such a big differentiator. It's a few $100s, which is significant, but not massive. I was hoping this would come at a little lesser of a price point, but I had to wonder why they called this the Mavic Pro. It made me wonder. As soon as I heard Pro, my first thought was, oh, they're coming out with a DJI Mavic next that's going to cost even less. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know why they chose that Pro term if there's not going to be some other Mavic, because this is their most consumer-oriented drone. This is not the Pro. The Inspire, the higher-end versions, they have some crazy expensive ones. Those are the Pro. This is not the Pro, but they're still using that term. And I know it's just a marketing moniker, but to me that signals something else is going to be happening in this space. Once DJI hits a price point under $500, this is going to blow the lid off the industry. I mean, It's going to go absolutely bonkers when you can get a drone with a 4K camera for the same price as a lens. Like, crazy. It's just going to blow the lid off of it. This is still expensive for a hobbyist photographer. For a pro photographer, this is an easy choice if you can differentiate yourself as a photographer because of this. But for a hobbyist photographer, this is expensive still, and you got to justify, do I get a new camera or this drone? And I think a lot of photographers are going to choose the lens or the camera.
And I don't want to be too hard on the GoPro Karma because it's a trade-off for sure. That this one from DJI is going to be much smaller and much more portable. But the GoPro, I think, is going to have better video quality, and it's a dual purpose thing, right? Because you can either use your GoPro 4 or GoPro 5, put it on the gimbal stabilizer, put it on the camera, or put it on the drone, and it's a drone, or you can just take it off and then you've got your GoPro as well. So for somebody like me that is using a GoPro to film my adventure videos, like it's kind of an all-in-one solution rather than having a GoPro and a drone. I can have my GoPro that's kind of part of my drone. So in a way, it's more cost effective for me, but it would also potentially be better video quality as well, because think about it, it's got a gimbal, plus the Hero 5 has image stabilization, so it's double stabilized. That's going to make for some nice video. And you can take that gimbal off the front of it, and then you've got a handheld gimbal, which is pretty cool too. So it's not going to be as small, but I think that for some people, the GoPro Karma is going to be a pretty good solution too. I think it's going to be a bump up in video quality, not as good as the Phantom 4, I don't think, but it's definitely going to be a smaller package than the 4. It's going to be like kind of in that middle point between the Mavic and the Phantom 4.
Yeah, that's true. And if you're just in GoPro world, if you do a lot with the GoPro, it makes sense to choose the GoPro Karma. But the Mavic is lighter, it's smaller, it flies way faster. It has tons of intelligent flying modes, circle me and follow me and all these kind of really cool features. And so it's tough not to choose the DJI at the same time. But also DJI's customer service is not great at all. It gets horrible reviews. I don't know how GoPro's is. I've never dealt with GoPro customer service. And so that's definitely something to consider. I have had consistent problems with DJI. I've owned 2 of the DJI Phantoms, and both the original and the 3 that I bought right before the 4 I had major firmware issues where it reversed my controls one day, and one time I installed the firmware update and it just hung there for 2 hours, and the battery was about to run out, and it's like, okay, I guess I got to pull the plug while it's doing a firmware update. This is horrible. This is not the right thing to do, but the battery was running dead. So it's like there are problems. I've heard they're improving, but we'll see. And so that's definitely something to consider. Now, the question for me, though, is not really should I get the Mavic Pro or the Phantom or the GoPro Karma? The question is, should I get the Mavic Pro or wait for the DJI Inspire 2? I was very much expecting DJI to announce an Inspire 2 at this same press event. I think the reason they didn't is because they wanted to focus on stopping GoPro. They wanted something to just say, there's GoPros, ours is better 3 days later. And they didn't want to distract with anything else. But I'm more interested in the Inspire line. If you're buying your first drone, don't buy an Inspire at all. You will crash it. A lot of times, I promise you will. You tell yourself now that you're going to be safe when you're like, I bet I could fly over that building over there. You're going to crash. You're going to try something that's a little bit too advanced and you're going to crash. So don't do it. But I've had a few drones. I feel like I can rein myself in and fly responsibly now. So I'm interested in the Inspire 2 since it's hopefully we'll continue the use of these, higher end cameras and better image quality. It's the still image quality that I care about most. And that's just not there on really any of these drones.
And another interesting thing that I kind of popped in my head as we're talking about this, if you wreck a Mavic into the water, you crash it into the water, you lose everything, right? You crash a GoPro Karma into the water, you've only lost the drone. You still have that waterproof camera on there that you can save. So if you fly around water a lot, maybe it's worth it to stick with the Karma, because now you're talking about a waterproof camera on the front of it. I don't know what the weather sealing is like on the drone itself, but at least you're going to be out a little bit less for losing just the drone part of it rather than the drone and the camera. Just a thought.
Yeah, that's true. Now, I did notice on the Mavic that it has like this plastic bubble completely surrounding the camera. And I think that was more to just protect the camera. But I didn't see if they marketed that as being water resistant or not. My thought is not, but at least there's some kind of protection there. But you're right.
Yeah.
If you crash the Mavic, you're dead. You have nothing left. And if you crash the Karma, you probably still have a nice GoPro left. So that is a significant difference.
Yep.
Because you will crash it. I'm warning. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. Every time I think, no, I got this. Nope. I tried to do something risky. Have you crashed yours?
No, still have not crashed. Well,
you're so much more responsible than me, Nick.
I've landed it really hard a couple times. I've crashed it on its landing gear, where I just didn't realize how close I was to the ground and just bounced it off the ground. And it's tipped over in the wind, but I've never like flown it into a tree or anything. So I'm doing all right so far. Knock on.
That's gold star for you, man. Maybe I'm just a bad pilot. Maybe everybody else is gonna be fine. All right, so that's our take on the GoPro Karma. Thanks for joining us on this episode, and we'll see you later.